Colton, the Conservative leader just spoke moments ago. What did Pierre Poilievre say he learned from the election?
That is the big question. He celebrated the wins, the increase in 2.3 million votes, the increase in 25 seats, but he talked about what he needed to learn. And there was two key takeaways here. The first one was that they had the right message, but they need to have a larger team and they need to share that message more broadly. Now, interestingly, that means more people, but also the larger team element is particularly key here. There were some criticisms, you'll remember, during the campaign about his campaign manager. There was public infighting between Doug Ford's campaign manager and the federal Conservative campaign manager. There was open attacks on their lack of pivoting to Donald Trump. There were questions about the restrictions around communications that were placed around MPs, their inability to let them do a number of public debates. There were questions about her leadership. So talk of a larger team around him is something that is quite noteworthy. We'll see if that campaign manager, her name Jenny Byrne, holds her position in the party or if there's going to be some pushback. The second thing that he talked about was how the electoral map has changed. Essentially, if they'd had this result in a different election, that would be a majority government, but it's not. We've moved to what experts call a 2+ party system from a multi-party system. So whereas before there was a number of choices for Canadians, now it's really 2+. And in this case, the plus is the Bloc Québécois because they have about 2.5 seats, or 2 dozen seats, I should say. Compare that to the NDP, which is left with only a smattering. And so this is an interesting conversation because it's an acknowledgement that not only has the electoral map changed right now, it could change as well for the next election. And that's a challenge if you're the Conservatives because they were already the only option on the centre-right of the Canadian political spectrum. That wasn't true for the NDP and the Liberals prior to this. And so if what we see in this election continues, it means they're also going to be going up against a stronger Liberal Party, a Liberal Party that has moved closer to the centre. Will we see a Conservative shift that moves a little more left or a little closer to the centre, away from the more populist slant that it's taken under Pierre Poilievre? That's something to watch with regards to those comments.
Quickly, before you go, Colton, there may be a leadership vote here. Is Pierre Poilievre's position at all in jeopardy?
I don't think so. We've seen a number of MPs today say that they still support the leader. A number of very top Conservatives say they still support the leader. I think there will be some time for second thoughts and for consideration as to what went wrong, and we're likely to see some changes. Pierre Poilievre is unlikely to be one of those changes. I would expect him to stay on as leader, but for context, his Director of Communications, Director of Media Relations, Director of Issue Management all left after the election. There's going to be some changes near the top. The big name, as I mentioned earlier, the big name to watch is Jenny Byrne. Will she be moved on? Will the party decide to keep her in such a prominent role? She was a bit of an outcast from the party for several years after she lost the 2015 election with Stephen Harper and only came back under Pierre Poilievre in 2022. Can she survive this election loss as well? That's going to be the biggest question mark.
Okay, we'll see how that goes going forward. Colton, thank you.
So this is the opinion from others. You can also share your opinion under the comment section. Thank everybody. Bye for now.